This is Damian Maffei from the Strangers Pray at Night. You're listening to episode 3 of the Darkest Before Dawn podcast.
That was the best intro I've ever had on my show so far.
Nice.
How you doing? What's going on,
Real actor.
Hey, so
not that clown that came before me.
Hey, so tell me how you landed the role for The Strangers.
One of the producers working on the movie, John D. Wagner, I've done a couple of things with him. I first met him on a movie called Close for the Season. Right. That was like 2008. So it was almost 10 years. But we hit it off there, and we got along, and we've done a couple of things since, and tried to do many more. That didn't happen. But he's had a good deal of success. He went on to produce, be line producer, executive producer, and things like The Cheap Thrills, Starry Eyes, Hawk, and he called me up and he said, "Hey, I'm doing this Strangers sequel," and I was like, "Oh, cool! Finally, I'm sure people will be happy about that."
Right.
He said, "What do you think about playing the man in the mask?" And I thought it probably wasn't something for me. I thought it was probably really cool to do. But I thought, maybe get someone else to do it. And I'd love to see it.
Oh, really?
So, sorry, noises are happening on the computer and I'm trying to make them stop.
Oh, no, it's all right. No worries.
He sent me the script. I read the script. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was different from the first one, which I was a fan of the first one. But my thing as far as doing the part was, I remember the first one. The villains. They're in the background. Are they there or are they not? That was part of the whole horror of it. That was a real terror of it.
Right.
And that was great. I just, you don't need, an actor to do it. Not, Laurence Olivier or something, but I just thought get someone else to do it. It was just frustrating me. Right. Well, I read the script. I got to the part, scene in the movie in a van with father, and I read that scene. I was like, this is pretty cool. I want to be part of this, I think. And it'll be fun. And that's the other thing, too. I'm a big horror movie fan. In high school, we ran out there and we filmed these Friday the 13th sequels and
oh, nice.
Our own slasher movies. So, once I got off my high horse, I was like, well, it'll just be a part of a slasher movie. And that'll be pretty cool. So, yeah.
So I know, like you just mentioned, you're a big horror nerd like myself. So, how does it make you feel now that, you've been in movies and everything? You've seen people dress up as you as cosplaying and yourself on T-shirts and all that stuff.
That's great. It's a lot of fun. It's hard to believe, that. Going out there to that movie, we knew exactly what kind of movie it was. We knew that a lot of fans of the original were, going to be horrified because it took a different path, kind of. And, it is a slasher movie, so,
right.
It's not exactly primed for critical success. So, just go out there and do the best we can, have fun with it. So that anyone kind of enjoys something you go out there and do, that's pretty cool. And seeing the costumes and the
it ever get like overwhelming, like a little bit?
When the movie, for a couple months after the movie first came out, I was a little overwhelmed because I had never gone through that before.
Right.
You know, all the movies I had done, you know, bless their hearts, not, you know, quite had the, you know, the steam.
As The Strangers did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, it came out in a you know, wide theatrical release. So,
Yeah.
So social media wise, it was an explosion, and I'm like trying to respond to everyone. But for the most part, I mean, it was all really, really very positive. So, I mean, that was quite a bit. I think, you know, the fact that there are, you know, multiple killers kind of softened it a little bit. So, you know, I know Emma probably gets quite a bit of bombardment. But I mean, I try to keep up with it.
All right. So now, if you woke up tomorrow morning, right, and a director called you and said you can play any role in any horror film ever, which would you pick?
Like a past one?
Any. It could be past, new, any horror movie ever. What would you want to be in?
Well, I'm going to say something here, and it's going to sound pretty cheesy, but it's the God's honest truth. This movie we're going to start filming this summer, which is actually a dream role of mine. It's a movie that has been, you know, probably a decade in the making, trying to get it done.
Oh, really?
So that really is my focus, and I think my game changer.
Oh.
So I would have to tell the director I'm booked this summer, unless it's the director, the actual director. Otherwise, I don't know. You know, that's a good question that comes up. Is like if you could go back and be in your favorite movie or favorite movies,
right?
Would now? I mean, you know, of course, like, yeah, I mean, it's my favorite movie, but then it's like, you know, if you're in a movie, you can't watch it the same way.
That's true.
You know, like I never go back and watch Strangers, but I love this movie so much as a fan, you know?
Right.
Yeah, even though I have a bag on my head, but like if I don't have a bag on my head, I find it very hard to watch myself. So like I wouldn't want to go back and ruin my favorite movie. Like, I wouldn't want to be in Jaws or something, or Alien.
Right.
Because, like, you know, I'm in Alien, but then, like, I don't get to enjoy Alien.
That's true.
It's like, you know, all these, you know, Avengers movies and Marvel movies, you know, like, you know, big nerd stuff. You know, you know, it's like, would I ever want to do one of them? I mean, probably not, because I kind of ruined the universe as a fan.
I get what you're saying.
I guess there's a couple of movies, couple of parts out there that I feel like weren't fully realized, which that's, you know, when you get into it, you're like, you know, I really wish I could have gotten to sink my teeth into something like that.
Right.
Right. So, you know, there's a movie that came out last year called Summer of '84 that I really would have liked to have played a cop part in it.
Oh, nice.
So I could have done some stuff with that.
Now,
but, like, I'm kind of, you know, like, kind of a dark, kind of, I don't want to say edgy, I don't think I'm cool, but, like, edgy-looking person who you suspect immediately.
Right.
Right. You know, he's kind of, like, wholesome-looking. You know, a little, you know, so probably wouldn't work.
So, as an actor, right, What do you think is more challenging? Having lines, like you having to learn lines for a movie, or like playing a role like you did in The Strangers and not saying anything and working off of a body movement and like emotion and stuff like that?
Yeah, say like something like The Man in the Mask. I don't really call it acting.
Okay.
I don't know what you'd call it there. I guess it's just like some kind of behavior. I mean, it presents some of its own challenges. You want to make what you can of the moments you're given.
Right.
As much as you can, It's like you go through acting school, and you come up here, and you work on your voice and your face. You go from stage to screen, and it's like you move your face in one direction, and it's like you're horribly overacting. So you gotta play for the screen, and all this stuff, and then it's like they put a bag in my head and took away my voice and all that stuff, and so the scene with the van, which was the closest that could be to acting. It's really more timing.
I feel like
I think it's not challenging. I mean, you try to come up with some interesting behavior.
Right.
But lines, and that depends on the role itself. What the situation is. But I mean, that's going to be harder. Is acting. That's why so many people can't do it. Even people who do it quite often and paid very well.
Right, because Kane Hodder did it so well as Jason. Shows great emotion. He has good movements and everything. Everything he does with the mask on it's readable. You kind of feel and get what he's doing with it without saying anything, which is awesome in the way it's supposed to be done.
I prefer my Jasons to be pre-New Beginning, but
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't like the herky-jerky zombie Jason thing. It's not scary to me. It's not effective.
What's your all-time favorite Friday the 13th film?
Part 2.
Part 2.
Easy. Part 2, easy.
Part 2. Yeah, I'm kind. I don't know. I'm kind of like a more Part 7 kind of guy.
All right. So I've deeply offended you.
No, not at all. Not at all.
He looks cool in that.
He does. He does look really cool.
Like Carrie's distant cousin, and I don't know that movie. I know Don Buchler just passed, but yeah, I don't know. A lot of people like it. I'm just not one of them.
It's okay. When you are on set of The Strangers, one day getting ready to film, have you ever gotten sick or did you ever get hurt while you were there or anything?
No, not really. Not during that. I cut my finger in the van scene. That was about it. I was very sore at parts, but yeah, no, I was relatively healthy and pain-free.
Oh, that's always a good thing, right?
Yeah, Lewis got sick.
Oh, did he?
Because he kept coming in. The day that we filmed the pool scene, it was pretty warm. Then he had to go back into the pool like 2 days later, and it was not warm. Ooh. So he would go in there, and then they'd pull him out, and then they'd put him in under heat lamps, and he'd warm him up. But then he had to go back in. So we knew it was coming. He was, he had a fever, and he was pretty sick the next 2 days later, over the weekend. Yeah, but Bailey got pretty banged up. A lot of cuts and bruises. Oh. Yeah, no injuries. Pretty safe.
Yeah, that's good. That's huge, right?
Yeah.
Do you have like when you're on set and you're in costume and everything, do you have anything you do to, like, help yourself get into character more, or you just, like, look in the mirror and you got the sack on your head and you're ready to go?
Well, it's funny is that I wouldn't have the sack put on until, like, I was ready to go. So, like...
Oh, really?
There was, like, someone holding it, sack up. Because, I mean, it wasn't uncomfortable, but... if I wanted to drink something, then I'd put like a little straw in it, and just like setups can take varying degrees of time. So, and it had to be like tied, so it was like a whole production getting it on and off. For that part, I mean, not really. There really isn't too much depth to that role, and. Whereas, like, your really good villains, they're not playing it for, to be villainous, or, many great villains believe they're in the right.
Right.
Like Thanos. Or, Hans Gruber. Because you just know they're awful sons of bitches. Like, this is their unwinding for the weekend. Their little hobby, their passion. So, I mean, I'll get in my headspace for it. But, more often than not, it doesn't matter what I'm thinking, because I have a bag on my head. And the way that Johannes and Martin Brinkler, cut the film, they trimmed out a lot of the humanizing aspects that I brought to it, which I'm fine with.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, particularly the pool scene, the interaction before I charge at Lewis. I mean, it was, it just, you could see that the man in the mask was visibly upset by Pinup's demise, and that's all but cut out. And that's a choice they made, and I'm totally cool with it. But yeah, I mean, for that, it was just fun. Just go out there and have fun. And I think anyone that tells you otherwise for these kinds of parts is lying or too hard.
So every horror fan has like a story on how they got into horror, because there's always like a story on how someone got into horror. So what's your story?
I've seen this a lot lately. People like, how did you get into horror? And then people answering. And I'm always like, damn, I don't have a good story.
Really?
I don't know. I know that I was watching inappropriate movies since I can remember, which is a little combination of my parents, God love them, would take me to the movie theater instead of, they'd go to the movies in the afternoon and they'd bring me with them. So, I was quiet, and I don't know what they thought I was doing, but they probably didn't think I was paying attention to the movie.
Right.
But I always was. But, like, I've always been a night owl, right? So I'm up till 3, 4 a.m. And as a child, I would come back downstairs after everyone was asleep, and I would watch TV. So I'd just take it all in. Anytime there's a horror movie on, I would gravitate towards it. Like, I don't have a moment that I can point to.
Right, like a specific...
I remember my brother, my oldest brother, he was going out for Halloween, and I was sitting there at home. He's like, when I come back, we're going to watch this movie coming up on HBO. So he went out, and I watched Transylvania 5000.
Oh.
And then, so he came back home, and we watched The Return of the Living Dead.
Ooh.
And it had an effect on me. I didn't have a nightmare from it, but I was a little afraid to go to sleep. But I was obsessed with it too.
That's what happened to me.
I mean, that still is a movie I've shown to more people than any other movie, and that's 20 years removed now. But back then, I had the VHS tape, and I was like, you gotta see this, and like everyone would we started like this club. It was way before internet. Return of the Living Dead fan club, and it's where I became, and fell in love with Goomer. So like there's that, and there's I remember my mother watching The Exorcist in the living room, and I was like, I don't want to go to bed, and she was like, fine, sit here. So I was like, all right, and I had to leave.
That was the first movie that I've seen that got me into horror. It was The Exorcist. My mom was laying me down one night when I was a little kid, and she left the room, and she just left the TV on, and The Exorcist was on, and I'm like, well, it scared the shit out of me, but I'm like, yeah, that kind of felt good. Like, it really scared me, but I liked the feeling of it. So that's when I started, like, wanting to see, like, more of these movies that scared the shit out of me, and that's pretty much how I became a horror fan. By being traumatized.
That's a great one. Yeah, that's a good one. That really, really was a blessing to people in a certain age range. Damn kids today are like, it's not scary.
Yep.
Or like there's this kind of small, very little wave of hipsters now that like to say that The Exorcist 3 is better than The Exorcist.
Out of their minds.
I like The Exorcist 3. I like it a lot. It's got George C. Scott in it. I mean, he's amazing. But, I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Saying The Exorcist 3 is better than The Exorcist is like saying the Child's Play remake is going to be a good movie. Oh, my goodness, man.
I'm not going to touch that. I don't know.
No,
they were never my favorite movies, the Child's Play movie.
I never
really got into them.
Oh, you never got into them?
I mean, I saw, again, the first one was a movie that my mother took me to see.
Yep.
She was like, it's about a doll. So, I like that one. I feel like I've seen part 2. That's definitely it, though.
Now, see, I don't mind remakes. Okay, some are really well done, and like, okay, The Strangers 2, that needed a remake. That wasn't like remaking like a film, It was kind of like an addition. But like, they're remaking Child's Play, which is unnecessary. But they're remaking The Craft. Blumhouse is remaking The Craft, and I'm super excited for that. The Craft. Yes, I'm super excited for the remake for that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I didn't know so many people liked the original. I remember when it came out, and I remember it doing well, and it was a very, kind of safe movie for general audiences. I didn't know it had such a following, though.
Yeah, Craft is a great movie. Really good.
I'm all for any remakes. I don't really care. It doesn't undo the original.
That's true.
You'll always have the original. So at best, you get a movie that's like kind of in the same universe that you enjoy. Right. So it's like 2 movies there. Or it's bad and you never have to watch it again. Like Black Christmas is my favorite horror movie.
Oh, I love Black Christmas.
It has a remake.
It does.
I don't particularly care for. It's my God-given right as an American to never have to watch that again.
Absolutely.
And celebrate the Canadian. But I'm all for them.
Yeah.
The remake. Sometimes we get ones that surpass the original. Sometimes they're just nice, entries.
Right.
It's like I do a lot of theater, or I did a lot of theater. We do these plays over and over and over again. I mean, that's what the playwrights want. They want their plays being done. every time it's a new take on it, new people, and every once, after many years, someone comes in and completely, revamps the whole thing.
Right.
And a lot of bad productions, a lot of good ones. It's fun to see the different takes on them, and I think that I really don't understand. The psychology there with the hate on remakes. Why there's so much hatred for it.
Now every time I bring this, sorry, go ahead.
No. I mean, the first one is still there.
That's true. You can always go back.
Rob Zombie's Halloween, which no one gave a chance to. I'm not saying it's any good or any bad, but
yeah, I wasn't that big of a fan of the Rob Zombie Halloween sequels, but like you said, there is always the originals you can go back in and watch. So.
Yeah, and people do. I see a lot of the time on the internet, people are like, I must say, I don't really care for the original Black Christmas, but I love the remake. It's like, bitch, shut your mouth. Shut your bastard mouth.
I get killed for this all the time, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna go nuts. I love the It remake 10 times more than the original It. I'm not saying...
I'm going to tell you. I don't think I've seen the original It miniseries.
Okay.
Now, listen, I claim to be a horror fan, and come on here and said that I haven't seen anything. Child's Play and It. But, my time back then was in my teens, probably early teens. My time was limited. I had a lot to do. Back then, TV movies, you knew there was a limitation on what they could do.
Right.
So I never watched it. So, yeah, that's even another thing, is when, my friends here, my good friends, Dennis and Kevin, a movie called Pet Sematary coming out.
Oh, I'm so excited for that.
April 5th. I see a lot of people, the classics!
No, I'm wicked excited for this.
It's a fucking book. It's a source material.
Right.
Different takes on it. Why not?
I'm so excited for the Pet Sematary remake. It's not even funny. It looks so good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're great. They're a talented duo. They deserve it.
This looks really, really, really good.
It's going to make a lot of money.
I bet it does. So,
yeah, definitely will. Definitely will.
So, Damian, my last question for you is, what cons are you going to be at this year? We should finish up like that.
I'm only doing one this year.
That's
maybe, it? Who knows? Maybe I'll only do one for the remainder of my life.
Boo.
And then I'll just sneak into the others, because the best part about going to those things is walking around at the vendors and just hanging out and talking, and I don't like being stuck behind the table.
All right, Damian, thank you for doing this interview with me. I really appreciate it, man.
You got it, Andrew. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Thanks, man.